The massive space station called Kepler Station floated in the darkness between stars. Ships from 12 different alien races had gathered there for the biggest military meeting of the year. Each species brought their finest warships to show off their latest designs and weapons. The hegemony arrived first in their sleek silver vessels that could bend space around them. Their ships looked like deadly arrows made of liquid metal. Admiral Vextar stepped out of his flagship with forearms crossed proudly over his chest. His red eyes glowed as he watched other ships arrive. Next came the Zephyrians in ships that looked like living crystals. The transparent vessels caught the station's lights and threw rainbow patterns across the docking bay. Their ships could phase in and out of normal space, making them almost impossible to hit in battle. The Saurians brought their ancient but powerful warships. These reptilian beings had been fighting wars for thousands of years longer than most other species. Their ships were covered in thick scales that could absorb energy weapons. Admiral Korath, an old warrior with scars covering his green hide, nodded respectfully to the other commanders. More ships arrived throughout the day. The Etherians brought vessels that seemed to be made of pure energy. The Void Runners had ships so black they were hard to see against space itself. Each design was more impressive than the last. The aliens talked excitedly about their new weapons and faster engines. Then the humans arrived. The UES Persistence moved slowly toward the docking bay like a floating mountain. It was huge, gray, and completely unremarkable. The ship looked more like a space factory than a warship. Its hull was made of simple steel plates welded together. No fancy curves or artistic designs decorated its surface. Just flat, practical walls covered in sensor arrays and weapon mounts. The alien commanders stopped talking and stared. The human ship was 3 times longer than most of their vessels, but it looked clumsy and primitive. Where their ships were built for speed and grace, the human warship appeared to be built for carrying cargo. Admiral Vextar started laughing first. His high-pitched chittering filled the observation deck where all the commanders had gathered to watch the arrivals. "Look at that thing," he said, pointing with 2 of his arms. The humans brought a mining ship to a military convention. The Zephyrian ambassador's crystal body began to pulse with bright colors. This was how her species showed amusement. "Perhaps they are confused about what kind of meeting this is," she said, in her musical voice. Other aliens joined in the laughter. The Void Runners made clicking sounds that passed for humor in their culture. Even some of the normally serious Etherian energy beings flickered with what looked like amusement. Only Admiral Korath remained quiet. The old Saurian warrior studied the human ship with his ancient yellow eyes. Something about it reminded him of the old fortress ships his people had used in wars long ago. Those ships had been slow too, but they had been very hard to destroy. Captain Sarah Chen stepped off the human ship onto the station. She was a small woman with short brown hair and calm gray eyes. She wore a simple blue uniform without the fancy decorations that covered the alien commander's clothing. As she walked toward the meeting hall, she could hear the laughter and whispered jokes following her. "Did you see the size of that engine?" one alien whispered. "It must take them forever to go anywhere." "I heard human ships can barely reach half-light speed," another voice said. "How do they expect to fight anything with ships that slow?" Captain Chen kept walking without showing any emotion on her face. She had heard these kinds of comments before. Humans had only joined the Galactic Defense Coalition 5 years ago. Most aliens still thought of them as primitive newcomers who had gotten lucky by discovering space travel. The meeting hall was enormous, with a curved ceiling that showed a view of the stars outside. Each species had their own section with chairs or platforms designed for their particular body types. The human section was small and placed near the back, as if the meeting organizers had added it as an afterthought. One by one, each species presented their newest warships. The hegemony showed off their quantum drive system that could make their ships disappear and reappear instantly across the battlefield. The Zephyrians demonstrated weapons that could fire through solid matter by shifting into different dimensions. The Etherians had created energy shields that could absorb attacks and turn them back at enemies. Each presentation was met with impressed murmurs and applause. The aliens spoke of speeds that approached light itself, and weapons that could destroy entire fleets in minutes. Their ships were marvels of advanced technology that represented thousands of years of engineering progress. Then Captain Chen stepped up to the speaking platform. She activated a simple hologram that showed the UES persistence from different angles. The laughter that had died down during other presentations immediately started again. Some aliens didn't even try to hide their amusement. The UES persistence is humanity's newest contribution to the Coalition fleet, Captain Chen began. Her voice was steady and professional. Maximum speed is 0.3 times light speed. Main armament consists of railguns, kinetic projectiles, and conventional missiles. More laughter rippled through the audience. Conventional missiles were technology that most species had abandoned centuries ago in favor of energy weapons and quantum torpedoes. Primary defense system is layered armor plating with a total thickness of 12 meters, Chen continued. The ship is designed for extended combat operations without resupply. Admiral Vextar stood up in his section. Captain Chen, he said with barely hidden mockery, perhaps you could explain why your species chose to build such a traditionally designed vessel? Surely you're aware that modern warfare requires speed and advanced technology. Captain Chen looked directly at the hegemony commander. We built the ship we thought would be most useful, Admiral. Sometimes the old ways work better than people expect. This brought even more laughter. The idea that primitive human methods could be better than advanced alien technology seemed ridiculous to most of the assembled beings. Admiral Korath was the only one not laughing. He stood up slowly in his section and spoke in his deep, gravelly voice. Captain Chen, what is your ship's expected service life? 50 years minimum, Admiral, Chen replied. With proper maintenance, possibly twice that. The old Saurian nodded thoughtfully. Most modern warships were expected to be replaced every 10 to 15 years as technology advanced. A ship built to last 50 years was almost unheard of. The meeting continued with more presentations about advanced weapon systems and faster-than-light combat tactics. The human ship was quickly forgotten as the aliens returned to discussing their impressive technologies. Captain Chen sat quietly in the back, taking notes and saying nothing more. As the day ended and the commanders prepared to return to their ships, the general opinion was clear. The humans had embarrassed themselves by bringing such a primitive vessel to show alongside the galaxy's finest warships. It would probably spend its service life carrying supplies or patrolling empty space where nothing important ever happened. None of them could imagine that in just a few months, this slow, ugly human ship would become the thing that filled their nightmares. 3 months after the military summit, terror spread across the galaxy's most important trade routes. The Crimson Syndicate had returned, and they were stronger than ever before. This massive pirate organization had been quiet for years, but now they struck with frightening coordination and power. Warlord Grimjaw commanded the pirates from his flagship, a stolen military dreadnought called the Void Reaper. The ship was painted blood red and covered with weapons taken from dozens of different species. Grimjaw himself was a massive creature that looked like a cross between a bear and a shark, with metal teeth that gleamed when he smiled. The pirates hit the Andromeda trade route first. Merchant ships traveling between the core worlds suddenly found themselves surrounded by fast attack vessels that appeared out of nowhere. The raiders took everything valuable and destroyed the ships, leaving no witnesses. Within weeks, shipping companies were afraid to send their vessels through space without heavy military escorts. The galactic economy began to shake as trade slowed to almost nothing. Insurance companies stopped covering merchant ships entirely. Admiral Vex Tar of the Hegemony received emergency orders from his government. Stop these pirates immediately, the message said. Use whatever force is necessary. The Admiral gathered the Coalition's fastest and most advanced warships. His own Quantum Lance led a battle group of 30 vessels from 6 different species. These were the pride of the Galactic Fleet, ships that could move faster than anything the pirates had ever seen. The plan was simple. Use superior speed to catch the pirates before they could escape to their hiding places, hit them hard and fast, then move on to the next target. The advanced alien warships were perfect for this kind of operation, but Warlord Grimjaw was smarter than anyone expected. The pirates had taken over the Veil Nebula, a region of space filled with gas clouds and broken asteroids from an ancient planetary collision. The thick clouds of cosmic dust made sensors work poorly, and the floating rocks created a maze that was dangerous to navigate at high speed. When Admiral Vex's Tar's fleet arrived at the nebula, they found empty space. No pirates. No stolen cargo. Nothing but silence. Then the attacks began. Pirates appeared from behind asteroids and gas clouds like ghosts. They fired quick bursts at the coalition ships, then disappeared again before the aliens could fight back. The pirates knew every hiding spot in the nebula, while the coalition forces had to move carefully to avoid crashing into floating debris. The Zephyrian crystal ships tried to phase through the asteroids to catch the pirates, but the gas clouds interfered with their dimensional shifting. The Etherian energy vessels found their sensors confused by all the cosmic radiation. Even the hegemony's quantum drives worked poorly in the dense stellar environment. Worst of all, the pirates attacked from multiple directions at once. Just when the coalition forces thought they had found the main pirate fleet, more enemies would appear behind them. The raiders used the nebula like a three-dimensional city, moving between levels of gas and rock that the alien commanders couldn't track. After 6 battles, Admiral Vextar had lost 8 ships and hadn't destroyed a single pirate vessel. His advanced technology meant nothing when he couldn't find his enemies long enough to shoot at them. The final defeat came when the pirates ambushed the coalition fleet near the nebula's edge. 50 pirate ships surrounded Admiral Vextar's forces in a coordinated attack. The Quantum Lance's powerful weapons cycled through different firing modes, trying to adapt to the chaotic battle. But there were too many enemies moving too fast. The Zephyrian ships darted around like confused insects, their speed impressive but useless against such overwhelming numbers. The Etherian vessels tried to coordinate the defense, but their energy forms flickered with strain as they processed too much information at once. Admiral Vextar watched his beautiful, advanced fleet get torn apart by crude pirate vessels using simple hit-and-run tactics. The pirates didn't try to match the aliens' technology. They just used numbers and knowledge of the terrain to make that technology useless. "Retreat," the admiral finally ordered. "All ships, fall back to the outer marker." The surviving coalition forces limped away from the nebula, their pride as damaged as their hulls. The pirates' laughter echoed over the communication channels as Grimjaw's voice boomed across space. "Tell your governments that the Veil Nebula belongs to the Crimson Syndicate now," the warlord growled. "Any merchant ship that enters our territory pays tribute to us. Any military ship that tries to stop us gets destroyed." The defeat shocked the entire galaxy. These were supposed to be the finest warships ever built, commanded by experienced officers from the most advanced civilizations. If they couldn't stop a bunch of pirates, what could? Admiral Vextar sat in his damaged command center, staring at casualty reports. His communications officer approached nervously. "Sir, we're receiving a general call for all available coalition vessels to assist with the pirate situation," the officer said. "Command is requesting every ship we can find." "Every ship?" Vextar asked bitterly. The officer checked his datapad. "Well, sir, there are the patrol vessels in the outer sectors. Some older ships that were assigned to routine missions." "When?" "Fine," the admiral said. "Contact them all. Maybe quantity will make up for our apparent lack of quality." Among the ships that received the emergency call was the UES Persistence. Captain Chen was in her quarters reviewing supply reports when her communications officer knocked on the door. "Captain, we've received a priority message from Coalition Command," the officer said. "They're requesting all available ships to assist with pirate suppression in the Veil Nebula." Captain Chen looked up from her paperwork. For 3 months, the Persistence had been conducting what everyone called routine patrols in the Outer Rim, empty sectors where nothing important ever happened. Everyone assumed the humans were being kept busy with meaningless work while the real warriors fought the important battles. "What's the situation?" Chen asked. The officer handed her a data tablet showing the battle reports. Chen read through them carefully, her expression never changing. 6 defeats, heavy casualties. The pirates were using the nebula's terrain to neutralize the coalition's technological advantages. "Interesting," Chen said quietly. "Captain?" the officer asked. Chen stood up and walked to her cabin's viewport. Outside, stars wheeled slowly past as the Persistence continued its patrol route. The ship had been moving at the same steady pace for months, never hurrying, never stopping. "Contact the bridge," Chen ordered. Tell Commander Rodriguez to set course for the Veil Nebula immediately. Yes, Captain. What speed should we use? Captain Chen smiled for the first time in weeks. It wasn't a friendly smile. Best possible speed, Lieutenant. It's time to show the galaxy what human ships are really built for. In the ship's engine room, massive drives that had been running at quarter power for months suddenly roared to life. The Persistence began to accelerate toward the Veil Nebula, still slow by alien standards, but moving with the steady determination of an avalanche. The crew members who had been waiting patiently for their chance finally allowed themselves to grin. They had spent months listening to alien jokes about their primitive ship. Soon, those same aliens would learn why humans built their warships like fortresses instead of race cars. The hunt was about to begin. The UES Persistence arrived at the edge of the Veil Nebula, just as the pirates launched their biggest attack yet. Warlord Grimjaw had decided to make a statement that would terrify the entire galaxy. His target was Gamma 7, a massive mining platform that supplied rare metals to half the civilized worlds. 50 pirate vessels emerged from the swirling gas clouds like a pack of hungry wolves. They moved in perfect coordination, their formation designed to overwhelm any defending force through sheer numbers and confusion. Admiral Vextar's remaining ships tried to mount a defense, but they were outnumbered and still damaged from their previous defeats. The Quantum Lance's advanced weapon systems cycled frantically between different firing modes, trying to find something that would work against so many fast-moving targets. The Zephyrian crystal ships darted around the battlefield like angry fireflies, their speed impressive but ultimately useless. They could dodge the pirates' attacks, but they couldn't be everywhere at once. For every pirate ship they engaged, 3 more slipped past to attack the mining platform. The Etherian energy beings tried to coordinate the defense through their quantum communication network, but there was too much chaos. Their consciousness flickered with strain as they attempted to process data from dozens of simultaneous battles. Gamma 7's defense systems activated, sending streams of laser fire at the approaching pirates. But the mining platform had been built to extract metals from asteroids, not fight wars. Its weapons were designed to break apart rocks, not destroy military vessels. The pirates swept over the platform's defenses like water over a dam. Explosions bloomed across its surface as the raiders' weapons tore through mining equipment and storage facilities. Emergency alarms screamed across all frequencies as the platform's crew evacuated to emergency pods. Admiral Vextar watched the disaster unfold from his command center. His beautiful, advanced fleet was failing again. The pirates' crude but effective tactics were making his sophisticated technology look foolish. Then the UES Persistence entered the battle zone. The human ship didn't try to match the pirates' speed or dart around like the other coalition vessels. Instead, it moved directly into the center of the pirate formation, with the steady determination of a glacier. Its massive bulk blocked the pirates' path to the mining platform like a mountain that had decided to go for a walk. "What is that human ship doing?" Admiral Vextar demanded. "They're positioning themselves right in the middle of enemy fire." The pirates noticed the strange human vessel and immediately changed tactics. A dozen fast attack ships peeled off from the main assault to deal with this new threat. They accelerated toward the Persistence, confident that their speed and numbers would overwhelm the slow human ship. That was when the aliens watching the battle witnessed something that challenged everything they thought they knew about space combat. The UES Persistence opened fire. The ship's weapons weren't elegant energy beams or exotic quantum torpedoes. They were simple, brutal, and absolutely devastating. Railguns, the size of buildings, launched metal slugs at incredible velocity. Missile pods released swarms of conventional explosives that tracked their targets with mechanical precision. Kinetic projectile systems fired streams of dense metal at rates that turned space into a shooting gallery. But it wasn't just the firepower that shocked the observers. It was the accuracy. Every shot found its mark. Every missile hit its target. The Persistence's targeting systems tracked dozens of moving enemies simultaneously without missing a single one. Where other ships had to choose their targets carefully, the human vessel simply destroyed everything that entered its range. The first wave of pirate ships disappeared in a cloud of metal fragments and expanding gas. The survivors tried to use their speed to get behind the human ship, but they discovered something that made their blood run cold. The Persistence didn't have blind spots. Weapon mounts covered every surface of the massive vessel. No matter which direction the pirates approached from, they faced the same wall of devastating fire. The ship rotated slowly on its central axis, bringing fresh weapons to bear on new targets, while damaged systems cycled offline for repairs. Pirates that tried to overwhelm the human ship with concentrated fire learned another unpleasant lesson. The Persistence's armor wasn't just thick. It was designed to absorb and redirect energy away from vital systems. Plasma bolts that would have crippled other vessels merely left black scorch marks on the hull. Admiral Vextar stared at his tactical display in amazement. "How are they tracking so many targets at once?" he asked his sensor operator. "I don't know, sir," the alien replied, his voice filled with confusion. "Their targeting computers are using some kind of prediction algorithm I've never seen before. It's like they know where the enemy ships are going to be before the pirates do." The battle around the Persistence became a slaughter. Pirates who had spent months terrorizing the galaxy's finest fleets found themselves helpless against the slow human ship. Their speed meant nothing when every escape route was covered by accurate gunfire. Their numbers became a disadvantage as destroyed ships created debris fields that hindered the survivors. Warlord Grimjaw watched the destruction from his flagship with growing fury. His carefully planned assault was turning into a disaster because of one primitive human vessel. He opened a communication channel to his fleet. "All ships, ignore the mining platform," he growled. "Focus everything on that human ship. I want it destroyed now." 20 pirate vessels turned toward the Persistence and attacked with everything they had. Energy weapons, missiles, kinetic projectiles, and exotic matter warheads all struck the human ship simultaneously. The explosion was so bright it temporarily blinded the sensors on nearby vessels. When the light faded, the UES Persistence was still there. Its armor was blackened and scarred, but the ship remained intact. Emergency repair teams were already working to fix damaged sections, while the weapons continued firing without pause. Steam vented from cooling systems as the massive vessel's industrial-grade equipment handled battle damage like a factory handling a machine breakdown. "Impossible," Admiral Vextar whispered, but the real shock was yet to come. As the pirates regrouped for another attack, they began to realize something terrifying about the human ship. It wasn't just fighting them. It was learning. The Persistence's combat computer, a hybrid system that combined human intuition with machine processing power, analyzed every shot fired and every evasive maneuver attempted. It shared this data instantly with the human crew, who adapted their tactics in real time. Pirates who tried the same attack pattern twice found themselves facing weapons that were already aimed at their approach vectors. Ships that attempted to hide behind debris discovered that the human targeting system could predict their movements based on previous behavior. Captain Chen stood on her bridge, watching the battle unfold with calm professionalism. Her crew worked around her like parts of a well-oiled machine, each person knowing exactly what to do without being told. "Enemy flagship is moving to engage," her tactical officer reported. Chen looked at the massive red ship approaching through the chaos of battle. The Void Reaper was twice the size of most Coalition vessels, and armed with weapons stolen from a dozen different species. "Very well," Captain Chen said. Her voice was as steady as if she was ordering coffee. "Let's show Warlord Grimjaw what happens when someone threatens human shipping." The two massive ships approached each other through the debris of the battle, like ancient knights preparing for single combat. Around them, the surviving Coalition forces watched in amazement as the slow human ship that everyone had mocked prepared to face the most feared pirate in the galaxy. The real nightmare was about to begin. The battle between the UES Persistence and the Void Reaper became the most watched space combat in galactic history. Every surviving ship in the area focused their sensors on the two massive vessels as they approached each other through the wreckage of the pirate fleet. Warlord Grimjaw stood on his command bridge, his metal teeth gleaming as he studied the approaching human ship. The Void Reaper was his masterpiece, a stolen Coalition dreadnought rebuilt with the best weapons he could find or steal. It mounted plasma cannons from 3 different species, quantum torpedoes that could phase through armor, and kinetic accelerators that could punch holes through small moons. "That ugly human bucket thinks it can challenge me," Grimjaw growled to his crew. "We'll show them what real pirates can do." "Fire everything," The Void Reaper unleashed a devastating barrage that lit up space like a newborn star. Plasma bolts, energy beams, and exotic matter projectiles struck the Persistence simultaneously. The human ship disappeared in a ball of superheated gas and electrical discharge. Admiral Vextar and the other coalition commanders held their breath. No ship could survive that kind of concentrated firepower. The humans had fought bravely, but they had challenged an enemy too powerful for their primitive technology. Then the explosion cleared, and the UES Persistence emerged from the fire cloud like an angry god. The ship's armor was glowing red-hot in places, and atmosphere vented from several hull breaches, but the massive vessel continued its steady advance. Repair crews were already working on the damaged sections, while the weapons systems cycled up to full power. Captain Chen's voice came across the communications channel, calm and professional. "Warlord Grimjaw, you are ordered to surrender immediately. Shut down your weapons and prepare to be boarded." Grimjaw's laughter boomed across space. "Surrender? You humans are even crazier than I thought. Let's see how long your turtle shell lasts against real firepower." The two ships began a brutal slugging match that defied everything the watching aliens thought they knew about space combat. The Void Reaper used its superior speed to circle the human ship, firing continuously from different angles. Its weapons were more advanced, its shields were stronger, and its engines could generate 3 times the power of the Persistence's drives. But the human ship fought like nothing Grimjaw had ever encountered. The Persistence didn't try to chase the faster pirate vessel or match its complex maneuvers. Instead, Captain Chen positioned her ship to control the entire battlefield. When Grimjaw tried to circle around for a flanking attack, he found the human ship had rotated to keep its weapons trained on him. When he attempted to use the debris field for cover, the Persistence's targeting systems tracked him through the wreckage. Most importantly, the human ship never stopped learning. The Persistence's combat AI analyzed every weapon fired by the Void Reaper. It studied the pirate ship's movement patterns, energy signatures, and shield frequencies. Within minutes, it began predicting Grimjaw's tactics and sharing that information with the human crew. "Their main plasma cannon has a 3-second charging cycle," the tactical officer reported to Captain Chen. "The quantum torpedoes take 7 seconds to arm after firing." "Very good," Chen replied. "Adjust our firing pattern to target them during their reload windows." The aliens watching the battle began to understand what they were witnessing. The human ship wasn't just fighting, it was treating the battle like a complex engineering problem to be solved. Every exchange of fire provided data. Every evasive maneuver was analyzed and catalogued. The Persistence was turning Grimjaw's own tactics against him. Warlord Grimjaw began to feel something he hadn't experienced in years: fear. His beautiful, powerful ship was slowly being torn apart by the methodical human vessel. The Void Reaper's advanced weapons overheated from constant use, while the Persistence's simple but reliable systems kept firing without pause. His exotic shields flickered and failed, while the human ship's crude but effective armor absorbed punishment that should have destroyed any vessel. "Sir, our primary plasma cannon is overloaded," one of his crew members reported. "The quantum torpedo launchers are jammed." "Then use the backup systems," Grimjaw roared. "We have more firepower than they do." But that was exactly the problem. The Void Reaper had been designed for quick, overwhelming strikes against merchant vessels and lightly armed patrol ships. Its complex systems required careful maintenance and couldn't handle extended combat. The more advanced the weapon, the more things could go wrong. The UES Persistence, on the other hand, had been built for exactly this kind of fight. Every system on the human ship had backup systems. When one weapon mount was destroyed, another took its place. When armor plating was blown away, the layers beneath continued to protect vital areas. The ship's crew worked with mechanical precision, repairing damage and maintaining weapons with the efficiency of an industrial operation. Admiral Korath, the old Saurian warrior, watched the battle with growing amazement. "Look at how they fight," he said to his crew. "They're not trying to win quickly. They're trying to make sure they don't lose." The difference was subtle but important. Most species built their warships for decisive battles that would end quickly. The humans had built their ship to survive any fight, no matter how long it lasted. After 2 hours of continuous combat, the Void Reaper was falling apart. Its hull was riddled with holes. Its shields had failed completely, and half its weapons were offline. Grimjaw's crew reported critical failures throughout the ship. The UES Persistence was damaged but still fighting. Its armor was scorched black and punctured in dozens of places. But the massive vessel continued its relentless assault. Steam and sparks flew from damaged systems, but human engineering crews kept everything working through sheer determination and careful design. "This is impossible," Grimjaw screamed at his tactical display. "We have superior technology. Our weapons are more advanced, but technology meant nothing if it couldn't be maintained under combat conditions. The pirates' stolen weapons came from different species with different maintenance requirements. His hybrid ship was powerful but fragile, like a sports car trying to run a marathon. The Persistence was built like a truck. It might not be fast or pretty, but it could take a beating and keep going." Captain Chen watched the pirate ship's increasingly desperate maneuvers with professional interest. "Their engine output is down by 60%, her sensor officer reported. They're venting atmosphere from multiple hull breaches. Any sign of surrender?" Chen asked. "No, Captain. The enemy vessel is still attempting to target our bridge section." Chen nodded. "Very well. Target their reactor core. It's time to end this." The Persistence's main railgun, a weapon the size of a small building, swiveled toward the crippled pirate ship. The massive magnetic accelerator charged up with a sound like thunder, ready to deliver a killing blow that would end the fight once and for all. Warlord Grimjaw saw the human weapon preparing to fire and finally understood the truth that would haunt the galaxy's nightmares. The slow, ugly human ship hadn't just defeated him. It had made his defeat look easy. "Wait," he transmitted desperately. "I surrender. My ship surrenders." Captain Chen's response came back immediately, delivered in the same calm, professional tone she had used throughout the battle. "Negative, Warlord. You chose to threaten human shipping lanes. You chose to attack coalition vessels. You made your decision when you opened fire." The railgun fired, and the Void Reaper died. The massive kinetic projectile punched through the pirate ship's hull like it was made of paper. The Void Reaper broke apart in a chain of explosions that lit up the entire nebula, taking Warlord Grimjaw and his crew with it. Silence fell over the battlefield. The surviving pirate ships fled in terror, abandoning their dead leader and their dreams of easy conquest. The coalition forces stared at the scarred but victorious human vessel with a mixture of awe and fear. The slow ship that everyone had mocked had just destroyed the most feared pirate in the galaxy. The news spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. Within hours of the battle's end, every major news network was broadcasting footage of the UES Persistence destroying the Void Reaper. The slow, ugly human ship that had been the subject of jokes just months ago was now the most famous vessel in galactic space. Military analysts pored over every second of the battle recordings, trying to understand how a single primitive ship had accomplished what entire fleets could not. The footage showed the human vessel methodically destroying pirates with cold efficiency, absorbing damage that should have crippled any ship, and fighting with a determination that seemed almost mechanical. Admiral Vextar sat in his quarters aboard the damaged Quantum Lance, watching the battle footage for the 10th time. His red eyes tracked every movement of the human ship, every precisely aimed shot, every calculated maneuver that had turned the tide of battle. His communications officer entered the room nervously. "Sir, Captain Chen has requested a private meeting with you." Vextar looked up from his display. The human captain wanted to talk to him personally. After the humiliation his fleet had suffered, he wasn't sure he wanted to face the woman who had accomplished what he could not. "Very well," he said finally. "Arrange the meeting." An hour later, Captain Chen materialized in Vextar's quarters through the ship's matter transporter. She looked exactly the same as she had during the military summit. Calm, professional, and completely unremarkable. But now Vextar saw something different in her gray eyes. They held the quiet confidence of someone who had proven herself in the most final way possible. "Admiral," Chen said, nodding respectfully. "Thank you for agreeing to meet with me." "Captain Chen," Vextar replied, his earlier arrogance completely gone. "I wanted to personally congratulate you on your victory. Your ship fought impressively." Chen sat down across from the alien commander. "Thank you, Admiral. But I didn't request this meeting to discuss the battle. I want to talk about something more important, which is the future of this war, Chen said. Because this isn't over. Warlord Grimjaw was just one pirate leader. The Crimson Syndicate has dozens of other commanders, hundreds of ships, and bases scattered across this entire sector. Vextar's expression darkened. He had been hoping that Grimjaw's death would end the pirate threat. But the human was right. Criminal organizations like the Crimson Syndicate didn't collapse just because their leader was killed. "What do you suggest?" he asked. Captain Chen leaned forward slightly. "I suggest you learn from what happened today. Your ships are fast and advanced, but they're not built for this kind of warfare. You're fighting pirates like they're another civilized military force, but they're not. They're criminals who use terror and chaos as weapons. And your ship is better suited for fighting criminals?" "My ship is better suited for finishing fights," Chen corrected. "There's a difference between winning a battle and ending a war. Your technology is impressive, Admiral, but it's designed for clean, quick engagements between honorable opponents. Pirates don't fight honorably." Vextar was quiet for a long moment. Everything the human said was true, but it was hard to accept. His people had spent centuries perfecting their military technology, creating weapons and ships that were marvels of engineering. The idea that crude human methods could be more effective was difficult to swallow. "Your ship performed adequately in one battle," he said finally, trying to salvage some pride. "That doesn't mean human methods are superior." Captain Chen's smile was cold as space itself. "Admiral, with respect, the UES Persistence isn't special. It's not our most advanced ship or our strongest. It's a standard production vessel. We have 47 others just like it in our fleet." The words hit Vextar like a physical blow. The ship that had single-handedly destroyed the most feared pirate fleet in the galaxy was just an ordinary human warship? If this was their standard design, what were their actual warships capable of? 47 others? He asked weakly. "Standard patrol vessels," Chen confirmed. "We're building 12 more this year. Each one is designed to operate independently for extended periods, engage multiple enemies simultaneously, and survive damage that would destroy most other ships. They're built for war, Admiral. Real war, not the clean conflicts your people are used to." The implications slowly sank into Vextar's mind. The humans hadn't just built one terrifying ship. They had built an entire fleet of them. Each vessel was designed with the same philosophy that had made the Persistence so effective. Reliability over elegance. Endurance over speed. Overwhelming firepower over sophisticated weapons. "Why are you telling me this?" Vextar asked. "Because the galaxy is about to change," Chen replied. "Other species are going to study the battle footage and realize what my ship represents. Some will try to copy our designs. Others will try to develop countermeasures. A few might even try to eliminate us before we become a threat to their own power." Chen stood up and walked to the viewport, looking out at the stars beyond. "Humanity has been part of the Galactic Coalition for 5 years. In that time, we've been dismissed as primitive newcomers who got lucky discovering space travel. Today, that changed. From now on, every species in the galaxy will know that humans don't build ships to impress people at military conventions. We build them to win wars." Vextar joined her at the viewport. In the distance, he could see the UES Persistence moving slowly through the debris field, its hull scarred but intact. Human repair crews were already working to fix the battle damage, preparing the ship for its next assignment. "What do you want from me, Captain?" he asked. "Nothing," Chen replied. "I'm simply making sure you understand the new reality. The age of treating humans as junior partners in the coalition is over. The next time pirates threaten galactic shipping, don't be surprised if human ships arrive first." She activated her personal transporter and began to dematerialize. "Oh, and Admiral? The next time you see a slow human ship, remember that we don't build them slow because we have to. We build them slow because we choose to. Speed is what you need when you want to run away from a fight. We design our ships for the opposite purpose." Captain Chen disappeared, leaving Vextar alone with his thoughts and the implications of what he had witnessed. Across the galaxy, similar conversations were taking place in government chambers and military headquarters. The footage of the Persistence's victory was being analyzed by every major intelligence service, and the conclusions were always the same. Humanity had revealed itself to be something far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. They weren't primitive newcomers stumbling around with crude technology. They were a species that had spent their entire history fighting wars, and they had brought that experience with them to the stars. Admiral Korath, the old Saurian warrior, summed up the new reality in a report to his government that would become famous throughout the galaxy. We mocked them for building slow ships. We forgot that humans don't run from fights. They finish them. Every human vessel is designed not to win battles, but to end wars. They are not our enemies, but any species that chooses to become their enemy should prepare to face the consequences. The humans have shown us their standard patrol ship. We should all pray we never see what their actual warships are capable of. The UES Persistence continued its slow journey through space, returning to the patrol route it had left behind to answer a call for help. Its hull bore the scars of battle, but the massive ship moved with the same steady determination it had always shown. Behind it, the destroyed remains of the Void Reaper served as a warning to anyone foolish enough to threaten human interests. The age of underestimating humanity was over. The age of fearing it had just begun. In the depths of space, 46 other ships identical to the Persistence continued their own patrols, waiting patiently for the next enemy that would dare to test human resolve. Each one was built to the same specifications: slow, ugly, and absolutely unstoppable. The galaxy's nightmares now had a name, and that name was written on the hull of every human warship in simple, block letters. UES. United Earth Ship. The slow ships were coming, and there was nowhere left to run.